In this video, I'm going to learn more about rigid body. So we're going to be learning about the rigid body, and at last we'll be just making a small animation with it. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the video. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this cube, just move it up just like that. Just going to scale it down, and now I'm going to go to the physics properties, and I'm going to go and take this rigid body, the second last one. And in that, as you can see, there are many settings which will be just kind of changing. So for if I just select it right now, as you can see, there will be an animation which just went down. So we don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna add a plane. Just gonna scale it up to just make it more like a floor for this rigid body effect. And right now, as you can see, if I just go, it just goes through it. So for just making it as a real floor, what we should do is we're gonna add a rigid body to this one too. And now I'm just gonna change the active to passive, because or else it's just gonna fall with the cube. So if I just change it to passive, as you can see, it just stops there. So as you can see, there is a small animation just like that. So if you want, you can just change the bounciness and things. So we'll be just going to that at the end of the video. So now let's look what this mass thing is. So you can just change the kg, the weight of this thing. So I'm just gonna make it as the default itself. So now you can also just keep them animated right here. So now let's see what this dynamic does. So if you have the dynamic on, it will just do as the normal rigid body settings. But if you just off that dynamic, it will just do nothing. So if you just keep them animated, you can just on the rigid body animation whenever you want. So the next one is animated. So what this animated does is that it just allows Blender to understand that there is an animation in your thing. So it just stops that rigid body physics from that. So for example, if I just add an animation right here, just like that, it'll just be falling. So that the animation, the keyframe animation I have done is not there. So for making that to be there, let's just move. So if you want to on this animation, just on this animated. So if you want to see this animation here, just click on this animated button, and then as you can see, it just does that animation thing. So it just makes Blender realize that there is an animation going on. So you just have to animate it instead of just using the rigid body. So let's just delete that, and let's just make it as normal. So now let's see what this collisions is all about. So in the first one, so what it is that it just all about just colliding with other things, the settings of that. So in the first one, you can see the shape. So you can just change it as it is. So I can just change it to a mesh, which is real shape of this cube. So I'm just gonna change it like that, and there's like many other things. So you can just change it if you are having a sphere. You can just change it to that, and there are many other settings. So now let's go for the surface response. So in the surface response, there's just main two things, which is the friction and the bounciness. So what this friction does is that it just, as you know what by its name, it just increases the friction of it. So I should just change it in the floor of it. As you can see, friction will be just increased, and there is a bounciness. So if I just increase this bounciness in this one, and also in the cube, it'll be just bouncing like a ball. That is just so cool to watch. So that is what this bounciness is about, and that is all you should know to just to make a rigid body animation. So now let's take a main rigid body animation. So for that, I'm just gonna make this a bit more bigger. Just gonna take this camera. Just gonna go to view, cam to view. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make this as a bit more better background and stuff. So I'm gonna tab out to edit mode, and I'm just gonna take two of these edges. Just gonna press E to extrude, and just press Z to just extrude it in the Z axis, just like that. And I'm going to press 2 to go to the edge selection mode right here, and just going to left click on this thing, and then press Control B, and just do like this. And now I'm just going to scroll it, just going to left click, there we go. So by having that, kind of smoothness, there we go. So now I'm going to press Control 2 to add a subdivision surface modifier to this plane. So that is how you do that. And now I'm just gonna add some colors and just some lighting and some things. So let's just move it to be somewhere there. And now I'm gonna go to this light settings. I'm just gonna increase this light. I'm gonna go to the rendered view so that I can see what is going on. So right now it just looks pretty bad. So to change it, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to increase this light. So I'm just going to go to this render properties tab and go to this color management. And in that, I can see this exposure. So you can just play with this exposure. Now let's just move it like that. And now I'm going to add a color to this cube. So I just go to this material properties and I can just add a base color. So I'm just going to add kind of a light blue color. And if I want, I could just duplicate loads of them. So just going to give them different, like, random rotations. There we go. Yeah, you can just play with it kind of many times. And then, so that is how you make a rigid body animation in Blender. So make sure to subscribe if you want more of this content, and it'll just help me a lot. So yeah, see you in the next one, and until that, bye bye.